Welcome to Practical Talk Time. Joining us today is Danbury's First Lady, Phyllis Boughton. Welcome, Mrs. Boughton.
Oh, Usha, thank you so much for having me today.
You've been a First Lady for almost a decade now, and we all want to have a peek into your life. We want to know how you start your day, how early do you get up and what do you do?
One of the first things that I do is I meditate. I feel that that's important to make certain that my mind is clear and that I take careful time to relax and get in touch with what I want to accomplish during the day. And then I'll actually exercise for about an hour, spend some time outdoors in my gardens, and then head off to work and spend the majority of my day at Connecticut Kitchen and Bath, which is my business, as you know.
So for meditation,
Yeah.
have you learned the process or?
Yes, meditation has been extremely helpful. I actually go to a retreat center up in the Catskills called Peace Village, and it's a place where obviously it's very peaceful, but it's a place I enjoy going to. But they teach you a practical way to meditate so that in every moment you have the opportunity to be reflective and be careful that your mindset is clear and objective, and that in every moment you are showing the world that who you really are, your values and beliefs and ideals.
So does that energize you in the morning, or does it just calm you?
It actually does energize me. After I meditate, I feel that I'm ready to conquer the day, and I'm very clear about what my intentions are, and it really helps me to be clear to present myself in a positive way. And also connect, with God, that's very important to me.
So your husband is a fifth-term mayor.
Yes.
What is it like to be his wife?
Well, at times it can be very challenging, but I believe Mark is a very gifted and talented person, full of a tremendous amount of wisdom. And I feel that the community is blessed to have him as their leader. So although, as I mentioned, it's a bit challenging, I'm very supportive of him and his endeavors. And as I mentioned before, he was very clear with me prior to our marrying that he wanted to be a politician. He was a school teacher when I met him. But prior to our getting engaged, he said, "Do you mind if we live in Danbury?" And I said, not at all. I mean, I love Danbury. I love what the community stands for. I really love the fact that Danbury is an eclectic mix of different people from all around the world, many cultures. So I was like, no, I have no objection to that. So when am I getting my ring?
So you were ready for it from the beginning?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I met Mark. I was an apolitical person, full of a lot of idealism. Ironically, I had prayed to meet him, and I said I really wanted to meet somebody who was deep and philosophical, somebody who was involved in the community, who owned a home, an older home, and who was entrepreneurial. And ironically, a couple of weeks later at my brother's wedding, my cousin, who was running for councilman in Danbury, asked that I help him with his campaign. And my being apolitical, I had no idea what that involved. I thought, designing his collateral materials, his signage, no idea. So a few days before Election Day, he calls me up and he says, "Okay, I need you." And I'm like, "What do you need me for?" And he said, "I need you to hold a sign at Morris Street School." So I actually showed up and held a sign and asked people to vote for my cousin Mark. And my husband was working the polls that day, and he was a school teacher at the time. And it was a beautiful fall day, sunny, beautiful and bright. And then out of nowhere, the clouds opened up and it started to rain, and it turned to be bitter cold. And he gave me a cup of coffee. And more importantly, when my cousin went on to lose, he shared some encouraging thoughts. And he actually gave us a window into his soul by sharing his disappointment in losing to David Cappiello during the primary for state rep. Because maybe people don't know, but Mark had ran against David to become state rep and lost. And then when we married, he then ran to become state representative 2 terms.
Oh.
And is mayor 5 terms. But more importantly, that night when Mark, my cousin, lost, we went out, or he asked me out for a cocktail, and we went out to the old Mimi's, and that night we were prophesizing that someday I'd be First Lady of Danbury and he'd be mayor. So I don't know if there are any accidents in life.
Oh, to me, it seems that you kind of started the political process by campaigning for your cousin.
Maybe. Maybe I was a born
That's what
political wife. I don't know. When I believe in something, it's very easy for me to work hard for it. And I certainly do believe in Mark, that's for sure.
Mark Boughton recently announced his run for governor.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that affect you? You know, has it increased the stress level? Or
No,
activity level?
It really hasn't affected me. If anything, you know, I really hope that people understand the level of commitment Mark has, and that, you know, they basically get 2 for the price of 1, because he and I together can accomplish great things, and we want to do great things for the state. And, you know, Mark, he's a very talented and industrious man. And I think one of the things that keeps coming up from the citizens of Danbury is we don't want to lose him as being our mayor, because he's a very beloved mayor in the city. And I can understand why, but you know, the truth of the matter is as I just mentioned to you, Mark's heart belongs to Danbury and will always belong to Danbury. And if anything, he's going to bring more attention to our great city and do what's right for the state of Connecticut. And for those of you many people have come up and witnessed all the great accomplishment Mark has made. So hopefully he can do that on a state level.
So now you're the wife of a politician that is traveling all over the state.
Yes.
You know, in his quest for the primaries, right?
Yes.
So do you travel with him, or do you have your work cut out right here in Danbury?
Well, presently, right now, the whole emphasis is on getting delegates and raising money. As many people know, after the News Times article, we're the regular people. You know, we're the working class people running for governor. So Mark's out every night trying to raise money because he's trying to qualify for public financing, which would mean that he needs 2,500 individuals to give a minimum or maximum donation of $100. So that's what we need to qualify. So we're a little behind on that front, but in terms of delegates, Mark's been out pretty much every night since he announced, and we've come up #1 in a lot of straw polls. I think most recently, I believe it was the Newtone straw poll that we came up #1, and you know, when he's done his debates, he's done really well. He knows his stuff. He's really brilliant.
Aside from being the First Lady, you're a working woman.
Yes.
So what are the challenges that you face on a daily basis trying to balance home and your work and public life?
Well, I think the #1 challenge for most of us being busy and definitely time challenged is always to keep your mindset clear and make certain that when you're making decisions, not to react from an emotional state, but to really react, not react, but respond. So that's where that meditation comes in, and really connecting and making certain that in every moment you're responding to situations. So to take a moment, you know, even a moment of silence in my office, so that when people, you know, people come in with different things that have occurred in their life, so I always want to respond in a loving way to people. It's very important to me. And also not to form any judgments, because you know, you don't know what just happened to that person, and there's always an opportunity to form a long-lasting relationship. And that's really how you and I met many years ago, right?
Yes, we met right here on this set.
With our good friend Bridge Lau. Yes. That's right.
In Bridge Lau's show, Let's Talk.
Yes, God bless him.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful man.
Yeah. This is a fascinating country.
Yes.
Right? And do you have anything to say about how great and accepting this country is, and especially Connecticut and this area?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm a third generation Italian. My family emigrated from Italy to be a part of this country. And I think it's wonderful that we have such an eclectic mix of cultures. One of my passions in life is traveling. And I've been as far away as Egypt. I've been to Europe, England, Italy, traveled all throughout Italy. I've been to India, Brazil, Venezuela. So I think it's very important to see or to always be careful of your perspective. And when you travel, it really gives you a window into the soul of different people's perspective. And when you take that kind of reflective look, it really helps to enjoy life more, you know, because there's so much to see and experience, and I've really been blessed in the fact that I have been able to travel. But also, getting back to your question, Danbury is a snapshot of the world. We have so many, I forget what the statistic is, but we have over 100 languages spoke at the high school, I believe, and you know, so many different restaurants. I mean, I was just at Pho Vietnam the other day having great Vietnamese food, and you know, you've got wonderful Lebanese Hannahs. So to be a part of the city and to represent the city is magical for me, and I'm so thankful for that opportunity.
So how do you see the mayor's stance on immigrants?
Well, we love all people, as you just, you know, our friends are Dominican. We've been to the Dominican Republic. We've been to Brazil. We have Portuguese friends, Greek friends. So this whole thing about immigration is really taken out of context. Mark's stance is really against illegal immigration. As I mentioned, my grandparents, great-grandparents emigrated from Italy, but they did this legally. And, you know, we certainly have compassion in our hearts for people that are here illegally, but Mark's position was really more or less to identify known criminals in the community and have an opportunity to address the situation. Again, getting back to your point, you know, we're accepting of all cultures. And ironically, just the other day, a good friend of mine, Luis, and I were having a conversation, and Luis is first generation Dominican. And he said to me, he says, I actually am a pastor in my church. And he said to me, Phyllis, I stand up for your husband all the time because everything that he has said on immigration is taken out of context. Because I emigrated legally, I waited 3 years to get in here. He says, and people need to abide by the law to come into this country. Otherwise, we're setting the wrong precedents. And I thought that summed it up very well.
Thank you very much. I hope viewers are clearer on this now.
Well, I appreciate your bringing that
up. So if your
up.
husband does become a governor, do
you mean when he becomes governor?
Yeah,
now.
when he becomes a governor. What plans
and I
do you
get
have?
to be first lady and live in the mansion.
Yeah, live in the mansion
Okay,
and
good.
probably invite me for your party.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So
the whole city of Danbury is going to be invited. How about that?
Oh, that would be wonderful. So, but what plans do you have? Any specific plans that you can?
Well, you know, I get a lot of enjoyment out of philanthropic work. And although I work many hours in my business, I believe in giving back. I believe when we give, we definitely receive, and I've been blessed. My business, you know, supports a lot of the different local nonprofits, but one very, very dear to my heart is Families Network. And they actually offer parenting. They actually have helped to reduce child abuse by offering programs to help people be better parents. And that's something that's very dear, and I've given out of my own pocketbook to support this actual organization. So that's one of the things I would continue to do. The other thing is I want to continue to celebrate the great people in our community, the unsung heroes, the people that go and they do charitable things all the time. I want to create an awareness around these individuals because they're around us all the time. And as you know, we did the Day of Greatness in Danbury, and we had over 500 people there nominating people that had a positive effect in their life. And that really touched me in ways that I can't even begin to, detail. But that was something that I would like to continue programming like that, and definitely work with the youth as I do, and continue to have the ball, which raises thousands of dollars. I mean, each year we raise, at the very minimum, $25,000, and we identify certain nonprofits and charitable organizations in the community. As a matter of fact, this year we actually gave to the Danbury Senior Center so they could buy a loom, because some of the ladies had mentioned that they would like to make quilts to support the senior center and sell them. And I said, wow, that's a great idea, so let's raise some money for that, and we were successful.
See, there are many that admire your tireless work,
Yeah.
and help whoever comes to you for any kind of help. You always find time for them. And
Well, I appreciate that compliment.
So in turn, if some of these people want to help the community in some way, is there any organization, or are there organizations where women at various levels can help or contribute?
Yeah, they could actually get in contact with City Hall, and they'll put them in contact with Patty Cohen Hecht, who actually runs an organization that whatever your talent is, everyone is gifted in this world. Everybody has a hidden gift. So whatever your gift may be, whether it's working behind the scenes on the cameras here to put a beautiful show like this together, or Usha taking your time because you're not getting paid for this, everyone has a gift. So if everybody taps into that gift and gives back, I mean, a lot of times we use the connotation, what comes around goes around, in a negative way. But I believe, what comes around goes around also has a positive. So we can definitely all spread some positivity, by doing whatever it is, whether you're into website design, whether you're interested in, sewing or putting together pillows for people that have just come out of surgery at Danbury Hospital, whether it's reception at the hospital. There's always in some way you can contribute to making our city the great city that it is.
You've been a very busy mayor's very busy wife, and I'm sure you get to attend a lot of functions. Does anything stand out in particular that you want to share with us?
Well, my heart definitely belongs to the Mayor's Ball. I'm blessed to have such a great committee. We put together this event, where we have different thoughts and ideas, and through collaboration with the different businesses, we produce this event on a shoestring budget and raise, as I'd mentioned, I think the lowest amount we raised was $25,000. So that gets split between the Danbury Museum and Historical Society, which we believe, Mark and I believe, is important to preserve our history as a city, as well as another nonprofit that we identify. But I love that event because, again, we don't take ourselves too seriously. This past year's ball was celebrating on many levels the fact that we in every moment create our own reality. So instead of looking at this down economy in such a way, look at the opportunities that are out there. Think positive in every moment, and let's create something that we can be proud of. And despite the economy not being the best it's ever been, we still raised $25,000 this past year. So it shows the sense of community and the quality of the citizens we have here in Danbury.
Well, so any other instances?
What other instances? Well, Dave actually mentioned an instance we used to do, or I used to be heavily involved in the Wild Winter Warm-Up, and he just reminded me of the last time that I chaired that with a great group of people. I was walking around with a tambourine and a long dark wig and dressed up as a gypsy. But that was a really fun event, and from what I understand, Kay Schreiber and the Danbury Westerners have taken it over, and it's really taken off, and that's a lot of fun.
I'm sure you would have made a great gypsy there.
It was fun.
And
Although
and I saw
I am soon to be, Danbury High School is having their musical. And so a good friend of mine, Cindy Neejame, asked me, or she actually found out that on my bucket list, I always had a little interest in theater. I prefer watching it versus being in it, but I do have my little bit part where I will be the wife of the King of France, and that's coming up soon, this weekend, actually.
And also you found out by traveling around the world that you can pass off for anyone.
That's right.
You know,
That's
whether
right.
it is
When I was in
Portugal
Mexico,
or-
they thought I was Mexican. When I was in Portugal, they thought I was Portuguese. Brazil, Brazilian. Italy, of course. India as well.
Even they thought you were
and
Indian.
Arabic. Yes, when I was in Egypt. So I have like a very multicultural look, I suppose, which I'm one of the things that I'm most proud of, actually.
Then you're certainly a great asset to Mark Boughton,
Thank you.
because for his, whether it's for his Connecticut aspirations or even national.
Well, I think he's
aspirations.
actually brought the best out in me, and I think he brings out the best in a lot of people, and I mean that sincerely. I mean, like any marriage, we we have our ups and downs, and we talk things through, and sometimes I don't always agree with him, but at the end of the day, I love my husband. I love what he represents, and I will support him 100% to be whatever his destiny has chosen. We're willing and happy to be instruments for the community.
You know that Danbury was, just a few years ago, ranked as the #1 city to live in the entire United States. Now it's kind of fallen behind a little bit. So do you have any specific suggestions or plans to make it #1 again?
Well, I know the film festival, that's another exciting event. Last night I attended the film festival downtown at the Palace Theater, and I know when Mark was a state rep, he worked tirelessly to bring that back, and recently was, in conjunction with Joe Da Silva, was able to bring that back to life. And Mark, being a very big supporter of the arts, is definitely bringing new blood into the area, and I think that's very exciting. And I don't know where these statistics are coming from, but I definitely would disagree. I think Danbury is the greatest city to live in. We've got a lot of corporate headquarters here in Danbury. We've got the lowest unemployment rate in the state, one of the lowest unemployment rates, and we've got the 7th safest city in the United States. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and we're just 60 minutes from New York City, which is really nice. So for those of us who love to go into New York and see plays, it's great.
Yeah, mostly it's very good, but there are a lot of corporations have left Danbury in several years.
Oh, really? Which corporations?
Starting from IBM
Okay.
and UPS.
Well, I think it's an international.
From 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We had Union Carbide and.
But there are new companies coming into the
Raytheon.
area.
We had so many companies. They are not in Danbury anymore.
Do you think that's a way beyond the scope of mayor, though? I mean, I think if you look at Danbury, and you've got to talk to Mark about these things, because that's
I
not really.
definitely- yeah.
But I know Danbury has a good share of corporate headquarters, and it's attracting. The Magnet Group just came into Danbury, and their corporate headquarters is here. There's a lot of good things that are happening, and I think I'm certainly not equipped to discuss this, or you'd have to really address it with Mark. But I think there's things that are changing in this world that we need to really talk about. The cost of labor in other areas, taxes, that kind of thing.
Because I feel that these questions are in the minds of most people now. Good high-paying jobs are hard to find.
Yeah.
And especially in Danbury, I know has
We have
enjoyed
fuel
a
cell,
lot of
we've
good
got
jobs. It used to have very good jobs. Now it has jobs, but not the good ones. So it'll be nice if those come in, so it'll help more with your activities too. Your non-profit or social kind of organizations can benefit from that.
Yeah.
I read in the New York Times recently that mayor of another city nearby, he takes off during the weekends, flies off to a Caribbean bungalow
Yeah.
for the weekends. So what do you and your husband do for weekends? Do you also have some places to go?
Well, Mark is very time challenged, as you may be aware, and it's very rare that he takes an entire weekend off. But what we do is we share moments, and it may be a brief lunch together or a dinner that we'll go out to. We're not fancy people. We like the Olive Garden, Almonte's, Barbary's. Those types of things. So we stay around town. The other thing that we do is we tend to TiVo American Idol. So we TiVo it and we'll watch it at 11 o'clock at night, when he gets home from his rounds, meeting all the different delegates and raising money. So we enjoy that. We love American Idol.
Is there any other thing you want to mention that I didn't
Well, we
broach?
spend time in our backyard with our two dogs, Spiky and Buddy. We love those two little gremlins, but he likes to garden, so do I. And then, occasionally we get off to the beach. That's what we like to do.
And Danbury is a lovely place. Do you go on the Candlewood Lake?
We used to have a boat, but we actually wound up selling it because we had no time to go on the boat. So, but when we did, we really enjoyed that. We would just dock and just, get up early in the morning, pack a picnic lunch, and go out on the lake. We enjoyed that.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure having you here today.
Thank you, Usha.
Thank you very much for watching the show. And until next time, goodbye.